do joint ventures work, right? Because, you know, often when we start down the path of a joint venture discussion, that's sort of one of the first questions people ask. So does it work? Should we even consider it?
Real good question, isn't it? The challenge is your margin for error for joint ventures is incredibly thin. All the issues Marie and Maria have highlighted, who's going to operate, who's going to be in charge, who's going to decide if the JV acquires another entity, dissolves, reorganizes. That is decided at a moment in time and captured in certain documentation. 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years later, management changes, the economy changes. I guarantee every joint venture agreement developed and executed between the year 2000 and April, let's say March 2020, did not contemplate a global pandemic and how that would affect the joint venture. So in terms of how one thinks about joint ventures, I completely agree with Marie and Maria that all these issues need to be laid out, but the documents also need to have the flexibility and humility to acknowledge that things may change. And as they do, who will navigate the JV going forward? And that's why those control issues are so important, because when coming back to a 50-50 JV, when you acknowledge the priorities of the parents will change and the strategy may change, you've got to understand from the beginning who will decide how to pivot. Because I think all of us, not only the four of us, but probably every single participant in this conference can attest to nightmare stories where a judge decides. And you never want a judge or an arbitration panel to decide the future of your joint venture. You want it to be in the control of the panelists, and to hardwire that flexibility in those agreements is key for a successful JV.